All right, we are recording. I appreciate everybody being on for Power Hour. Hope y'all had a great weekend. Hope you've been blowing your business up. We are at the halfway point of the month. So if you're not where you want to be, there's still time. And the other cool thing is if you don't hit it this month, there's still next month. That's the fun part about our business. One of the things I want to start off talking about tonight, and we don't have any newbies on this evening, but if they are watching the recording, I want to talk about, on the factory, we talk about 20 people. The plan on a page holds 5 names. I want to make sure everybody's clear that you got to have 4 pages. Here's what I am observing. The people that are going through more people, this is crazy, wait for it, they're getting more people in their organization. It's nuts. This isn't math class, but I'm going to give you guys a couple things about proportions, percentages, numbers. Bigger the sample size, better chance of getting people in your business. What I'm seeing is that when people will get after this thing, I had a leadership call earlier and I was talking about a gentleman that comes to a lot of our events. He'll make it to Power Hour. He's been on the summit in the past. His name's Lester. And Lester made it down from Austin area down to for our regional a couple weekends ago, and just, blew his mind. He loved what he was seeing. And he actually put it into action. Actually on Friday, this last Friday, so it had been 6 days since we had the regional, and he reached out to me and said, Mr. Salgi, is it okay if I use you, like you mentioned, for talking with people? I said, yeah, man. I told you I would. Let's do it. And so he started, and he has sent upward over 6 people for sure. I need to go back and get the exact count, but 6+ people that he has put me in touch with, following the system perfectly. Now, the key is that you don't go out and just get 3 and put them in your dump truck, bring them to the conveyor belt and dump them on there. You got to bring 20, because you don't know if it's going to be the first 3 or the last 3 or some combination in between of the 20. And here's a little secret. It might take 21. It might take 22. It might take 37. Okay. We're going to start with 20 because 20 to 3, it's going to be the anomaly that you're not going to get 3 out of 20, but you got to get to the 20. And here's the other thing. If you'll go through that 20 and you'll do it, I don't want to say rapidly, but consistently is the term. If you'll go through that consistently, the reason it's going to take 20 is the same reason that when you come out and you're in any sporting event, it's pretty rare that your first swing is going to be the best one. You got to warm it up a little bit. You got to exercise the muscle a little bit. You do a little stretching, take some practice swings. And even then, when you take the real swing, it's not as good as a little bit later when you got loosened up, warmed up. These things apply to our business. You go out and you're stiff and you swing it 3 times and you flub it and you wait 3 weeks and then you go try 3 more, bless you, Linda, then that's not going to work out so well. It's not going to work out as well as if you'll take a consistent approach to it. Okay? So make sure it's not just hitting the 20, but you're getting through the batch of 20 at one sitting or at one interval. I won't try to define how quick you need to go through this because every one of them is going to be different. But it needs to be consistent. You know what consistent is. You know what your level of consistent, my level of consistent are going to be different, just because we're going to have different definitions of what that interval is. Okay? But here's the one constant that I can absolutely assure you. If you have a thought in your head right now that you don't have 20 people to talk to, if you have that little chatter going on in your head, I've talked to everybody. Nobody wants to do this. That might work for you and others, but it doesn't work for me. Just so you know, your terrorist showed up. He's the only one that keeps you from doing 20 quicker than you have done 20, or if you haven't done 20, he's the one that's keeping you from doing that too. Okay, so process is beautiful. You got to get it in there. You got to get it moving. And you need to make sure that you got more on the conveyor belt, more of them in your dump truck that you're actually taking to the factory. Some of y'all got plenty of people in the dump truck. Y'all are just driving out, having a good old time. You're not actually bringing them to the factory. Okay. So I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with building some rapport, but you got to bring them to the factory from time to time so we can check on them and see if they actually want to do something. All right. So there's no doubt in my mind y'all are driving it. You're driving the truck. Just bring it by the factory and dump it every once in a while. And then make sure you do the work. Make sure you go through 20. And if you're struggling on, man, I just can't quite seem to get there, you know, that why. I had a good chat this evening. I thought it was a 2-hour, but it was actually almost a 2.5-hour chat. And some of the discussion that we had there was defining the why. And it's incredible. I mean, these are some veterans, and it's amazing to be able on how hard it is to get that why nailed down. If you're not being consistent right now, I can absolutely assure you it's one of two things. You don't have your why figured out, or your why isn't big enough to overcome your terrorist. That's all there is to it. This system ain't that hard. You guys know it. I know it. You know what you got to say. We can tweak all those things. Don't get me wrong. You might not be perfect on it, but don't let that be the thing. Be absolutely honest with yourself. Do a true audit, a true assessment. And sometimes that's scary. It's kind of like going to the doctor for a checkup. I don't want to go to the doctor. They might find something. So I get it. I get that too. I'm not a big fan of going to doctors. They might find something. But if you truly get to that point where I want to reach this destination, I really want to get here, and you don't have the feeling that you're on the path of getting there, then do a true self-assessment. You don't have to beat yourself up on it too. Just look down the checklist. Say, do I have my why figured out? How many people have I reached out to today? How many people did I reach out to yesterday? And don't just take one day. Look at it over a week. Give yourself a little bit of time so you can see an average. You look at my numbers. I didn't even write my numbers down on Saturday night. First time I missed my numbers in a long time, but I didn't write them on Saturday night. I could have done it. I had cell reception out where I was. It was not that high on my radar. I was out having fun with my kids out in the woods, driving a Ranger faster than I should be, later than I should have been. And we were having a good time, and it did not, that was my priority at the time, and Kiani was not my priority. I'm good with that. I make no bones about that. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Had a great time. Great friends out there. But here's the deal. Next day, boom, focus back in, got my numbers in, put in the ones that I had, and we move forward. So look at it over the bigger range. You know, don't just look, oh, crap, I sucked yesterday. Look at it on a bigger. Now, it's 2 weeks in a row that you're not where you want to be. You know where you're at. Now, here's what you need to do. You don't, it's like going out and working out. Man, I didn't go to the gym for like the last 3 years, you know, and I'm going to go today and I'm going to bench 250. I wouldn't suggest that. You want to break something, hurt something. It ain't going to work out so well. The thing is move. Do something. Do something more than you did the day before. Progress, not perfection. Talk about that a lot. Progress, not perfection. Make sure you're doing something. If you are, and you stack enough good days on top of each other, guess what's going to happen after a long period of time? Compound interest shows up. The compound effect happens, not just with your money in a bank or in cryptocurrencies or wherever you happen to have it in, but effort, things that are consistently being done over time yield amazing results. You're not going to go out and just have one banner day. I'm going to reach out to 20 tomorrow. Maybe that's your thing. That's cool. If so, go for it. Go do it. Make sure they're effective. But I would prefer to see somebody do one person for 40 days straight than one person do 20 days in one day and not do anything else. That consistent build and the power of what that's going to do, the intangibles that are going to occur on top of that, that's the only difference. There's a book, Good to Great. Malcolm Gladwell talks about this. There's a lot of different books out there that discuss this in many different ways. 10,000 hours it takes to be a superstar at sports and just about anything. It's the consistent being able to keep doing it. Your why's got to be big enough to be able to keep you in the game, to keep you coming to Power Hour. Hearing things that, I'll be honest with you, there's not a whole lot of new stuff I bring to these things if you haven't caught on in the last year. It's kind of the same stuff. I just say it differently. So keep sticking to it. Keep sticking to it. How did I get to this point? I got on calls all the time, every day. I got on the Sunday night calls. I go to the presentations on Thursdays. I drive down every one, then Tuesdays. Then we have a thing on Mondays also. So it was Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Then we have Saturday trainings quite often. And all of these things consistently over time, where now I can recite them and it is subconscious now for me. It wasn't that way in the beginning. And the same goes for you guys. It's just a matter of, do you do enough hours of the same stuff? All of that builds into, are you doing something every day? It starts with 20. Go through your 20, get those moving. Okay? So when you're with your people, here's what I want to encourage you to do. Make sure you bring them 4 plan on a page sheets, not just 1. Because if you go through 5 people, are those going to be the 5 that are going to generate a couple? I don't know. Whole lot better chance if you got 4 sheets of paper than 1 sheet of paper. Okay, so make sure that you're printing those out. Make sure your people have got that. Make sure they're doing it. Call them up. Hold them accountable. Don't just send them information. It's the next topic. Don't just send people information. Enroll them in action. Information is absolutely useless. I give you the internet. Okay? It's very good for sucking the life and the time out of your day. You know, you've all sat there 4 hours later. It's like, oh my God, I was just trying to find tickets to an event. And it's 1 a.m. How did that happen? A lot of useless information out there. A lot of very powerful information out there that's still useless unless you use it. Question out there, how can we know who is traveling from our upline to other cities and countries? Best way to do that is to get yourself plugged in on the Team Fusion pages. That's one way to be able to do that. A lot of announcements are being made. So for instance, tonight they're in Dallas. They were in Chicago the other night, and they were in Salt Lake City the night before that. So there's traveling that's going on. And the way that you'll see those is getting plugged into that. So there's a Team Fusion official Facebook page. There's also a Team Fusion Kairos page. Those are 2 good places to be able to get a lot of stuff streaming by. And these Facebook groups, Facebook pages, they're not messenger groups. You'll see a lot of extra stuff in there, a lot of stuff that's not going to be useful, and then you'll see those from time to time. Okay? All right. So I want to switch gears now. As usual, I want to make this about you guys. I want to hear some examples of what you've been doing, things that you've experienced. I don't want you to decide if they're good or bad. I just want you to say, here's the experience I had, and then let's use it and see if there's anything that somebody might be able to learn from that, including yourself. So who would like to go first with an experience, anything they've done considering our Jade Factory? They're in Dallas tomorrow. I said tonight. That was my bad. They're tomorrow. So if you got anybody in Dallas, then you can get them to see James Bradford and Mr. Mark Davenport. They'll be doing a presentation out there. We've got some details for that. Again, that's going to be posted out on that site. Thanks, Rob, on that. Actually, it's just Team Fusion Official. Sherry, if you don't mind, can you add her to that if she's not already added? Tina Marie.
Jackie and Tina Marie are already added to Team Fusion Official, and I just added them to Kairos.
Awesome.
And if they are cool with it, I'd add them to David Neves' IC group because I love what he puts out there. Love.
Yeah, that's going to be the most useful one, I think, out of those 3.
What? Yeah, just wow.
Yeah.
So
David,
you guys will add to that.
Yep. Cool. Thank you very much. All right. Who wants to share? Let's hear some examples. Somebody that hasn't shared in a while. Haven't heard from Jason in a while, Linda in a while. Terry, go ahead, sir. What you got?
Well, I'm not sure what kind of a share you're looking for. Are you talking about just us out?
Anything with the process. Anything with the process, the Jade Factory process.
All right. I went out to a kind of a local fair this weekend and did reach outs and reports mostly on Friday and Saturday, just kind of getting to know the people at these booths, working the event and that kind of thing. And then I went back Saturday night and Sunday, and I peaked, I want to say 4 people for customers and something like 4 or 5 more for the business side in basically one afternoon,
That's
yesterday
awesome.
afternoon.
Now, were these people that you had talked to? Are these people that you had talked to the previous 2 days of the event?
About half of them were, but the business ones, it was the last hour or so of the event, and I stumbled across some people who were experts in their area, what they were trying to sell at the event, but they hadn't had a single customer all weekend. So we just sat down and started talking about ways to kind of help their local knitting business. And it wound up that they both have husbands who are war veterans, military veterans who have disabilities, and they're looking for secondary income. What they're doing works, barely pays the bills though.
Yep.
And
that's awesome.
And the other people were, they're just, one is going to be a nurse pretty soon. A couple of them are, she's looking for a way to not be in medical forever because she's heard about the burnout that goes through the medical field for a lot of people. And I told her some stories because I've got doctors and nurses in my family as well, so I can confirm that for her. And
so when
then,
you piqued their interest on that, and then great on the this is right where I want to go. I appreciate this. You listened to them, you heard them, you heard that they're not making the money they want to, you heard that they're wanting additional streams of income, you hear that their health, they could benefit from this as well. And then when you piqued their interest, how did you go about piquing that? Give an example, pick one of them, and then what's some of the wording that you used so that I want people to, I want to get into you gave a great summary on, and I want everybody to listen in on this. The summary is great to kind of frame it up so everybody kind of see what we're talking about. And then let's use some specifics on, like you're in a courtroom and you're talking about, okay, this happened and then this happened and then this happened. Not all the extra stuff, that's hearsay. It's this happened, this happened, this happened. That's going to be the key part. And then people can get the cadence, they can get the content, they can get the actual words used, and that'll help spawn them on, hey, that's an example. I've watched that example. Now I can use that in my real life with the next person.
Yeah. One of the better examples are the 2 ladies that are involved in knitting and crocheting. That's their kind of the professional industry. One of them has an outside job on top of that because her husband's retired and he just gets disability. So, once they told me a little bit about their background with their husbands, I knew that there was something to kind of pursue there. And I talked to them about the health side first, and kind of gave them a little, just asking questions about, what kind of things are they going through? Do you have any?
Why did you pick that one first? Terry, why did you pick health first?
Mainly because that's where the conversation went naturally.
So pause on that real fast. I want to key off of that. That's a key thing. When people start talking and there's a couple things that they might be interested, the first one they say, pretty good chance that's the thing they're most interested in because that's what they led with. So even though you want a business partner and they start talking, well, I'm interested in health and wealth, and say, well, great. Why are you interested in those? Mm-hmm. And then see what they say. It's an open-ended question. And this is kind of that neat little tip and trick. By asking it that way, you don't drive the conversation down one of those lanes, but it's going down. It's definitely going to hit one of them. They get to pick left or right. That lets them be in the driver's seat in the conversation while you're still funneling them down the direction you want them to go. It makes it look like they're driving it where they want to go, but you are helping influence the conversation by doing that. And then the thing they say, that's the one that, well, my health has just really been crazy. That's the one we're going to talk about. I want a business partner. We're going to get them, be a customer first, or we're going to explore this first and see what's going on. So keep going from there, Terry. So you went down health, then what?
Well, we talked about health, and there are some issues in their family: disability, arthritis, surgeries, accidents that have happened, car accidents that have happened in the past. And so there's some physical limitations there. So I suggested to him that, if we get be Facebook friends, there's somewhere I can send them to give them a little more information on
Did
something
they
that was
ask
really
for
good.
more information on that?
They did. They
How
did.
did they ask
said,
that?
pretty much it was just straight up, tell me more about this because I want to know what it is.
Why did they? So let's go back a step. We fast forwarded a little too quick there. They were mentioning these things that were issues, and then what did you say to see if they wanted to sort that out?
I asked them if they wanted to see if they could make some progress on those because they weren't happy with what they'd already told me. They weren't satisfied with what they had learned from their doctors.
Perfect. And you asked, it sounds like the words you used were, well, do you want to make some more progress on that?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. And then they said, yes, tell me more. What do you got? Then you said, I've got a Facebook page to be able to get you some more information or something along those lines.
Yeah. And here's where I get myself in trouble on this. I had myself wearing this hat and I was wearing a Kyani shirt. This is a Kyani hat. And I had samples with me. So I did something like 6 exposures that day.
Uh-huh.
And I gave them a sunrise. And I said, here, just try this. This one.
Nice.
Yeah. Just real quick and easy so they get a feel for it. Because they were interested in, well, what's the product? You said it's natural. And I was like, the details are all on the website. They're all on Facebook. I'll let that explain itself.
Uh-huh.
So I wasn't trying to go into detail,
Yeah.
but they said, is there a way we can try it? And I'm like, oh, heck yeah, I got my bag right here. And here, try this.
Nice. So here's the deal. He showed up like a Navy SEAL, man. He had a backpack. He's got everything he needs to survive this situation and thrive in it, not just make it through, but win the battle. And I'm cool with it if they're asking for it. They asked, they wanted information. He had the thing to be able to give it to them. Notice the questions I'm grilling Terry here. You're doing great. I'm making sure that he's not giving them information they ain't asking for. I wanted to make sure they asked for it, or I was going to suggest that he change it. So let's give an alternate of what happens there. A lot of times they start going down and they get to the third ailment that they're dealing with, and it's on our list of things that we can help them with, and you guys interrupt them and say, hey, you want to fix that right then and there? And I got this thing for you, and I can send you to a Facebook page so it'll explain all this. They're like, well, what the hell just happened here? I was talking, giving my whole life story, and now I got some guy that's trying to sell me a whole bunch of stuff. That's what they're going to feel like. So you've got to be patient at that point. This is where you don't get in a hurry. Okay? Get in a hurry between the booths when you're walking from one person to the next person. Sprint to the next guy. But when you get there, take your time. And that's what Terry did a really good job here, is he did what they asked, what they were looking for, while he's sending them down a path that he wants them to. And he doesn't hand them a 7-day sample right there. He wets their whistle with one, and then they can, because he can hand them a $20 bill, or he can hand them, a $1 bill or 70 cents. And he handed them 70 cents to see if that was going to be able to do it. If it does, cool. That gives you a whole bunch more to be able to help more people out of that 7-day. All right, pick it up from there. Then what happened after you gave them a sunrise and they tasted it? What did they do?
Right. They tasted it, and one of the girls was real reluctant. These are 2 girls who are really good friends. They work together in the industry, but they don't live near each other. One's in Austin, one's out here in Katy. And one of them was real reluctant to drink it. I found out later on she's got a gag reflex and has a tendency to not do well with things that are new to her palate. But, basically they both tried one. Their response to it was good. And they liked it, and then they wanted to know what the next step was going to be. And I said, look, before I tell you the next step, and this is where I easily could have just dug my grave. I realized that as I was going into it. I said, you ladies have already told me a little bit about your business, how the weekend went so not the way you wanted it to. And we've already talked about ways that maybe we could help. And I was just helping them on their knitting business, how to kind of get more customers involved in that kind of thing with the people they know on Facebook. So basically what I told them was, this is a great product and could really help you. There's no doubt it could help you on that end. But I want to ask you a question. And I went for just a direct approach. I said, would you ladies also need to know that this can make a lot of money? Are you interested in making a secondary income? And I know I took a big chance when I did that because the whole thing could have gone south.
Yeah, no, I like it.
But based on what they had already told me, they were like, if it makes a certain amount, yes, I'm absolutely interested. I want to know the details, and I want to know them now. So I didn't explain anything. I said, well, just give me some contact information. And I didn't do a great job of getting contact information from all those people I found out as I got back today and looked at everything. But I told them, what I'll do is I will get in touch. We'll get you that information. I'll get you with the right people to get that information for you.
Beautiful. What did they say to that?
That's as far as we got. I got emails and phone numbers on one or two of them. But
Okay.
I got to follow up. I got a bit to do.
That's good. When did this happen?
I did a couple of them on Saturday, and the rest were all Sunday afternoon, between 4 and 6 p.m.
Perfect. So you're still within 48-hour period. That's great. So a lot of good stuff right there, Terry. I really appreciate you sharing with that. And folks, this is vulnerable position, and I think you all know that. That's why not too many people of you volunteer to go through this. But this is the plan, do, review, adjust. He had a plan. He went out, did action. Now we're reviewing and we're making adjustments. And you guys, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in a lot of people's heads right now. You guys experienced that. You went through that. You lived that, and it caused a whole bunch of extra stuff to happen. That's the whole point of this. This starts manifesting itself in real life activities. And this keeps happening, and it keeps occurring, and you keep thinking about it, and you keep putting yourself in these situations subconsciously because you're building this in your brain. You're making this happen with your thoughts. And that's so huge. So he was even thinking about it in there. So when if you remember riding a bike, first time you got that bike moving, there really wasn't another part of the plan, right? It was like, get on the bike, get it moving. And then while you're moving, you're like, oh crap, where are we going? And you're hoping, then all of a sudden there's a tree and you're like, I hope I'm not going there. And there's a ditch. I'm hoping I'm not going there. And then finally you just kind of fall over. And you get up elated and excited because you got it moving. And then the next time you did it, you started kind of getting some plans, but you were still focused on just making the pedals work and just getting something to move forward. And then after that, you do a little bit more. And then the next thing you know, you start anticipating because you've been down this path before. You've gone down those holes. You've thrown up on people. You've done stuff that you shouldn't do. You give them a whole month's supply. You do all the things that you've learned now not to keep doing, or you're in the middle of doing that right now. And guess what? Here's the deal. You still got to go out there and do those things. Hopefully this will save you some time, but we're hard-headed human beings and we like experiencing all our failures ourselves. It's very difficult for us to let other people fail for us and learn from that, but I'm trying to break the mold here. Okay. So hopefully you're hearing these things and it's like, I don't want to go screw up like that. So you can shrink the time. You can't shrink it down to nothing. You still got to go out and swing the club, right? But if you can learn from that and the better you are at applying that, the shorter the time frame is until you get the result that you're looking for. So really good stuff on there. Terry's understanding and his review of himself is that he needed to do a better job of gathering numbers. Okay. I'll tell a fun story about myself and Mr. David Daniel and I. We went to a place called Maryland when we were in our previous company, and we went there for 3 days of pure cold market prospecting. And when we left that state, after doing all that work, I was in the business for probably about 6-7 weeks at that time. When we walked out, we went to 38 to 40 different fire stations. Dave being a fireman, me coming in with, I could talk to people then too. So we just get in and just kind of mix it up. When it was all said and done, we handed out so much information, all kinds of stuff, talked to everybody. When we got back on the plane and we were headed back, we calculated, added up all the different people that we had contact information, and we came up with a number of 0. We had 0 names that we went home with. Okay. So it happens. All right. It happens. You got to go through those. Guess what? Greatest learning experience ever. It's being thrown into the deep end of the pool. No idea, no lifeguard. We almost drowned 6 or 7 times. But we learned so much by getting into that it made us who we are today. It allowed us to get on 2 magazine covers for that company, retire. It's unbelievable, the story of what it was, but it started with the craziness of those types of things. So lesson learned, make sure you get their contact information. Works so much better that way.
Oh, yeah.
And now you also said what the next step is. So this is where we're at. And now the next step is for the plan is you need to make sure you get back to them. Now, this happens a lot too. This is where your terrorist gets a hold of you. This is where you start coming up with all sorts of great stories on why, for the 4 names that you have in the phone numbers, on why you're not going to contact them, why you're not going to reach out to them. That's going to grab a hold of you. It's going to grip you around the throat. Just know that that is your terrorist screwing with you. Okay? So what you have to do in those situations, should that arise, is that you need to stop thinking about you. You need to like ding a little chime, or I don't know what you got to do to get your mind back. But then you need to realize that you're in this for them. You focus back on what it was that person wanted. And then it's real easy to pick up the phone and reach out to them and start the conversation by talking about them. Hey, you told me last time we met that you wanted information about the business and information about the product. Is that still the case, so that you could help the 3 different health ailments that you gave me, and a way to be able to earn that number that you said that you wanted to be able to reach? Is that still the case? Yes or no? That's how you start and reframe a conversation when you follow up with somebody. You frame it around them, and you're already driving the conversation down a very specific path, so it's not going all over God's creation. To do that, it's imperative that you have some form or fashion. I recommend this stuff. It's called paper, okay? Get a piece of paper. Get one of these things. It's a pen. Let me get it up close here. Okay, it's got this little thing. Ink comes out of it. It writes on this thing. Being stupid here for a reason. Write it down. Write their name. Write their phone number. And write down stuff about them. Get in this habit. I have a folder full of conversations that I've had with people. It is impossible to remember these conversations, especially if you're doing it right. You have to write them down. You have to look at your notes before you contact that person again. How you remember what that number was that they wanted to be able to. They remembered a number. You don't. They remember their kid's name. You don't. That's why you have to write it down. You say, hey, how did Billy do in that soccer game that y'all were going to after we last saw each other? Dude, it's done then. It's over. They love you. You're going to get a Christmas card now because you remembered something so small that's so insignificant to you, but it's not about you. It's about them. That's why you write it down. That's why you get out of your comfort zone and cause a new habit to be formed of writing stuff down that's not about you. I have life stories in this thing of other people, so that when I'm going to contact and come back to them, I can pull that out, scan that, highlight 4 things, and I can have a conversation that they're going to be, how did you remember that? It's done. The trust level of what that does, their defenses are down. They will now listen to what it is that we have to offer to them, which is, I know a guy that's going to be able to help you with all these things. You can now pass that trust on because you've built that rapport with them yet again and sunk it in even deeper. And when you're doing this, do it because you truly care. You truly care about them. Make it about that. And that's, if you're not good at that, here's newsflash, I'm not, my natural tendency is not to be that guy. You go back in my past 10 years, man, I'll be honest with you, I could really give a damn. blah, 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 blah. A whole bunch of stuff that I honestly, I'm thinking, what's in it for me? It took a long time till I realized, like, hey, dumbass, helping them is what's in it for you. And it's like, oh, wow, that's pretty good stuff. Profound stuff there. Had to go through the process, 10,000 hours. Now I want to impact 200,000 lives. It's all in here. So write that down. Write that down. Write down whoever it is you're talking with. When you get done, don't do it in front of them. That's going to be a little odd. Go find a little nook. Go to the restroom. Go into the bathroom stall. Get in your car. before you pick up the phone and look at all the text messages that you have that you must get to. Look, if the conversation went 3 more minutes, you weren't going to be rude and interrupt them. So take 3 minutes and jot down a couple of things. If you're doing this on the phone with them, that's the best. While they're talking, write stuff down. That's how I do it. Most of my conversations with people are on the phone. And then you've got such great information for them. Get in that habit. Here's the deal. It's real easy to do. It's also real easy not to do. These are the little bitty things that cause the exponential curve. And draw this out. I haven't drawn this in a while. Boy, Terry, you got me fired up on this topic. I think I saw this in the Compound Effect with Darren Hardy, but Jim Rohn talked about it. Everybody's talked about it. All right, so there's time. And there's negative. So over time, doing the simple things, 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 simple things. Simple bad choices, 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 simple bad choices. That's how they go. It's not all of a sudden that. That's what most people think for success. They think success is up here. They think this is the one time you got lucky, and then everything went straight up from there. Okay? Or, this is my favorite, is when absolute disaster strikes, typically around the health side, and they think that, well, everything was fine, and then all of a sudden I had one bad day, and that's when that happened. No, it was hamburger number 1, hamburger number 2, hamburger number 3, hamburger number 4, so on and so forth. If one hamburger gave you a heart attack, be a whole lot easier on this whole health thing. But it doesn't happen instantly. It happens over time. That's why there's not that big of a difference right here, right here, right here. Not a big difference, not a big difference. All of a sudden things start looking different. All of a sudden things start looking different. And now we've got life-changing results down the road. What I find is over here or over here, this time scale, about 10,000 hours. A work year is 2,080 hours. How long is it going to take? 5 years to hit 10,000 hours. Now, does that mean you're not going to have any success until 5 years from this moment right now? No, not one bit. Especially if you can get yourself into a comp plan like we got. You can start seeing some incredible results financially whole lot sooner. But you're still going to have to go through the process. What our process does is shrink all of that with technology. It gives you a lever. It allows you to be able to fast forward a whole bunch of that. It allows you to use the leader's 10,000 hours so that you can go through this curve as a team. Let's use an example on that. If we're doing a relay race and I've got an Olympic gold medalist on my team, will that probably make our team time look better? Yeah, especially if I was running solo, I can assure you. So if you can get with somebody who's already been doing this for a long time, that's why this process is so good. You get to use that. Your part is have a conversation, focus on them, see if they're serious, pass the damn ball. That's it. That's why this works so well. That's why, and then on top of that, you throw in the compensation plan structure on how it's built and how it goes. Oh man, this thing's a home run. How is it possible that people are making literally millions of dollars in just a couple of years and they'd never done one of these before? That's how. They've got a system that's working. Now it's just a matter of will it duplicate and continue to work. Pretty powerful. Holy smokes, that chat session blew up. All right, let's go back a little bit. Has anyone approached a doctor with being a business builder? What is the best pathway to provide them information? Betty, samples, beds, pharma sales rep to put some things together. Sherry nailed that one. Why do they want to be involved? What's their why? Same thing, just because they're doctors, there's still ask those same questions. But once you figured out that they want to be a business builder, they want to make some extra money with that, is just straight up, hey, would you like to have an additional stream of income? With doctors, that's one of the big groups we've got with is like, okay, you see that this stuff works. You want an additional stream of income? Yeah. And then you can kind of see a look on their face. What is it? Well, I got to make a certain amount or it's not worth putting in the practice. Well, what's that amount? The practice needs to make at least $1,500. If I can show you a way to make an extra $1,500, would you be interested in taking a look at it? Well, yeah, absolutely. It's the same progression that you go through to find the thing that they've got an issue, and his was an extra $1,500 and would love that stream. Then you just repeat it all back to them and say, if I can do blah, 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 blah that you just told me, then would you be interested in taking a look? The answer is always yes, because you nailed what they want. It's kind of cheating, but it's fun. And then we provide them with what it is that they need. And chances are that's going to be through a third party. I've got a guy that can do that. And when we did that, then he got to post it. Well, here's the deal. I don't do all the number stuff. Objections. Okay, great. Well, who does? My CEO does it. Well, great. Can you set up an appointment with the CEO? And if I can show them how to do that, then we can progress this along. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Appointment set up. CEO sitting there going, why am I sitting here with you? Well, because your doctor said that he wanted to make an extra $1,500. He really loves the product. Well, can you show me? Yeah, sure can. Got a spreadsheet right here. Boop, boop. Are you kidding? No, those are all real numbers. All right, well, let's get this thing moving. Boom. And now 250 patients a day are watching videos when they're sitting in the lobby of their practice, and they see Dr. Andreas up there talking about the health continuum. And then the next thing you do is you hear that little British dude talking about good nutrition is whatever he says. And that just plays on a loop. I'm sure the ladies there are ready to, just end it all because they keep hearing that same thing over and over and over again. So that's okay. But that's how we went about it for one of the doctors. All stems back to, what do you want? What's in it for them? Good question and good answers. All right. Let's see here. Got a couple more. Yep. Thank you, Harold. I'm glad you liked that. All right. There used to be white papers out there, but I think they took those down. I don't know if you can still get a hold of those or not. I don't have them, but you might be able to find them out there. Sherry, do you have them?
Of course I do.
That's why I love Sherry. Good job. So Tina Marie's asking for that. If you can send those over to them, that would be awesome. All right. We got time for one more? We do. All right. Let's hear somebody else here. Terry, thank you for that, buddy. That was good stuff. That really helped out. And yeah, I like it. I'm seeing some thumbs up, some heads nodding from others. Okay. Similar to what Terry did, who would like to share with what they've been doing? Promise you, if you want your fastest results, you'll participate in this. It is a game changer. Kathy, what you got?
Well, I guess we can talk about Taylor and Jonathan, the ones that I sent to you today. Taylor started, I met her like September 20th shopping. And imagine that, me shopping. Anyways.
I would be surprised.
I know. Struck up a conversation with her, figured out that she lived at home with her parents. She's going to school. She's working part-time, and she likes white furniture. She wants a house full of white furniture. And so, I just kind of asked more questions, made it about her. I mean, and then said, kind of, so what kind of plans do you have to get this home filled with white furniture? And she said, well, I'm going to school, and she plans with the job that she's working now, it plans on being able to at least get into an apartment within a year.
Okay.
I said, so are you looking for other means of income? And she said, absolutely.
Beautiful.
I said, right now is not a good time.
Now, hold on, pause on that right there. Let's dig in a little bit on that, because that was huge. She didn't just randomly pick, do you want to earn some additional income? She listened quite a bit, learned to the point of this girl sharing with her that she wants a house full of white furniture. When somebody shares something personal with you, that is your trigger. That is your key off of to say, yep, they trust me. They're sharing with me the white furniture story. And when they do that, then what Kathy did is she said, would you be interested in earning some additional income? Now, Kathy picked that one because they didn't say anything about the health perspective, or that wasn't predominant in the conversation. Being able to get the new apartment, all the different context clues that she got going through this conversation led her to believe that she might be interested in earning additional income. So she asked, what was the phrasing that you used?
I think I actually repeated it, and I said, so I hear that, I hear what you're saying, that you're interested in earning additional income. I said, I know a guy that has helped me out quite a bit. And, would it be okay with you if I get you in contact with him, get some more information to you or whatever?
What'd she say?
She said, yeah. Actually, at that point, it was, let me, get back to you or whatever. So,
she said that?
Yeah, I gave her my card too. And I was like, I might have just killed the whole deal. Because sometimes I give them my day job card and I just write my phone number on it.
Yeah.
And anyway, I think I gave her an actual Kyani card.
Did you get her phone number at that point?
I did. I got her phone number. I didn't get to say, I didn't say I know a guy right then. That was when I just said, I hear that you're interested in more money. Okay, because I didn't say I know a guy then. I had to build that back up. Because I think I said, I had the information or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go back and backtrack on it. And so then we had a few conversations and then fell off the map for a while and then got back with her. And this time I started back with the conversation on, so are you too busy? Because she said, I was so busy. I'm sorry, I'm just not getting back with you. And I said, are you too busy with, everything that you have going on? Are you still interested in earning additional income, to help you get out on your own? And she goes, oh, I'm still interested.
Beautiful. So another interaction, another exposure, another conversation that's happening. Was this by text or was this by?
This was by text.
By text. It's a great way to get to. Very easy to be able to work in, not worrying about playing phone tag and leaving voicemails that they may or may not do. It is pretty darn rare that you ain't going to read 160 characters. I mean, you're going to glance at it. You're going to take a look at it. That's why it's so powerful to communicate. There's no commitment that you're going to be on the phone for another 20 minutes or anything. It's literally, let me read this. I can choose if I want to respond or not. And so the back and forth, Kathy reframes it with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
reframe it with her.
It's so important to bring it back to their why. So that's the focus on this thing, because if you come in, hey, I wanted to call and see if you're ready to join our business or buy some stuff from me. You might as well just come up to them like you did the very first time and just said, before asking them anything, hey, you want to buy something from me? Nope, I'm good. I'm just looking, and they leave because they don't remember the interaction. they've been bombarded by 8 billion different things in the last couple days. Okay. And then you come back in, you got to set yourself apart from the rest of the crowd. What makes people interested in talking to you? When you're talking about their most important subject in their head, which is themselves. So there you go, filling that inherent human need to be heard, to be understood, to be significant in the eyes of somebody else. And Kathy set that up. Are you still interested in being able to do that? She said, of course. Then what?
And that, you don't know how difficult that is for me.
I have some idea.
Because I can give them the whole spiel. I can do whatever.
Oh yeah. You could do this presentation as good or better than I can. Yeah.
So I kept before I would have to pause before I responded on everything.
That's why text message is so darn good. Your brain can catch up.
Because I really did. What would Casey do? Okay, what would Casey's next thing be? So my message was, I said, yeah. She asked how I was doing. I said, I'm doing great. I said, I understand, you getting busy and whatever. And she said, yes, ma'am, I work a lot. In the process, I'm trying to move up, blah, blah, blah. She's doing stuff for church. And plus she's, going back to school, whatever. I said, awesome. It sounds like it's all great stuff and well worth your time. I could tell that when we met that you're a go-getter. Are you still looking for ways to earn additional income to get you out on your own quicker? And yes, ma'am. And she said, I can talk to you at 1:45 to 2:30. That's my lunch. I said, terrific. I know a guy that helped me with additional income. I'll introduce you to him. He's great. His name is Casey. So I wanted her to feel comfortable, like I'm not just dumping her with some.
Very important statement right there. And that gets lost a lot when we're transitioning to passing the ball. It's really good. Get that finer little point there is you want to make them feel comfortable in this transition. Let them know, why you're doing what you're doing. She hit that, this guy, he's going to be able to help. He's helped me. He's going to be able to help you. They built that trust, and now you're having to transfer that trust over to the proof person. The proof person brings the proof. They've got zero trust. Now, you bring all the trust, or they're never getting on the phone with me. So if you can't build that trust, and this is cold market, so it's going to take, typically it can take longer. Sometimes you can connect with cold market very first time you meet them in an elevator. But most of the time, it's going to take a little bit more. You got to be able to transfer that trust, and that was a very, very powerful way she did that. You all know how to do that. You've introduced people before, okay? That's all this is an introduction. It's like two people walking up to you at a restaurant, and you're the glue between them. You know person A, you know person B. You're going to introduce them to each other, and to do that, say, hey, I need to introduce you to person B over here. You're really going to like them. Come over. Let me introduce you. You do it all the time. That's all this is. Keep going. This is great, Kathy.
Okay, well then I introduced her to you, and you've handled it from there. And she, I noticed she just watched the video, and she's interested in learning. I'm not clicking on it because I wanted to make sure it stays lit up for you. I don't know if it still stays lit up for you or not.
You won't mess it up. And also, if you have a text message and you see it in your big list, a lot of times you can hold the button down on that text for a little bit. It'll give you some options, and you can mark it unread. I have to do that to be able to keep up with everything. So I'll go through and I'll read them. And then if it's one I'm not ready to get back to just yet, I got to knock out some others first. I'll mark it as unread so I don't miss it. And then that's how I keep up with everything that's going through. That's why I insist that it's done on text or messenger so that I can be able to do that to keep up. Otherwise, it's a logistical nightmare. So this is with Taylor.
Taylor. Yeah.
So on my side, let me read to y'all what all occurred over here. It's Taylor. I want to introduce you to the guy I was mentioned, Mr. Casey Salji, blah, 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 blah. She copied and pasted. She changed the part where it said prospect's name, and she put Taylor, and she spelled it right. And then she did a fantastic. Yep.
She spells it weird.
Yep. So make sure that you give them the honor of knowing how to spell their name. If you don't know, ask. Okay. They'll appreciate that. And look, if they got, now, if their name's John and you ask how to spell that, then, whoopsies. But otherwise, you shouldn't be too bad asking. Now, the other great thing she did is Kathy wrote in her text to introduce us. She said, Taylor is a college student who is also working to earn income to get out on her own. She's a go-getter, ! There's the compliment. She's currently at work, but will be getting a lunch break in a couple of hours. Great stuff. Told me who she is. Tell me just a brief one sentence about her. Complimented her as a go-getter, and then give me a heads up that she might not answer because she's doing lunch. I don't care. Whenever I see the text, I'm going to send it, and they'll get to it when they get to it. And that's the other beautiful part about doing this by text. My response. Raise your hand if you ever heard these words before. Hello, Taylor. It's a pleasure to meet you. And thank you, Kathy, for the wonderful introduction. I appreciate it. Tell me, Taylor, what do you know about what we are doing so far, comma, if anything, ? Good. I'm glad that hands went up because it's the same thing I send every time. I changed the names. What does she respond back with? It was 3 hours later. Hello, how are you? I'm somewhat familiar. I've seen and glanced through this before, somewhat familiar with what you are doing. So there's a little back and forth. She came back with a little extra that I wasn't quite sure, so there was some interaction. And then once we got past that part, it was 2 more back and forth. I said, okay, gotcha. Let's do this. I've got a short video that goes over the basic information and shares how this came about. If I sent you that link, would you like to watch that video? Her response, yes, I would. Thank you. Boom. She gets the link to the I Know a Guy from me. I say, enjoy. Let me know when you're done. And then since we've been sitting here on Power Hour, she said, I really enjoyed the video and I'm interested in learning more about the product and to see if this would be a good fit for me to make additional income. What's going to happen next? Absolutely. With you having this interest, I'm going to send you another video. I did a presentation online for 20 people. I decided to record that. It goes into the nuts and bolts. If I share that with you, would you like to watch that? They have to say yes or they don't get it from me. They got to ask. Why? Posture. I got the golden goose. If I don't have the golden goose, I'm begging them. I ain't begging. We're not begging. We've got the goose. You want an egg. If so, be happy to give them to you. All you got to do is ask. And I'm prompting you to ask. Do you want it? Yes, I do. Give me. Here you go. It causes them to want. And then the question, do you set an appointment for after or wait till they get back with you? Eric Worre, who I'm a big fan of, says, get a time and hold them to it. Now, I used to always do that. And then when they don't hold themselves to that, then we've got an accountability issue with this person. Here's what I've actually gotten to. If they want to chat with me, they're going to get back to me. If they get done with that, I don't need to play word games to get them to get back to me. Somebody in anything asked me, when would be a good time? Would 1 o'clock be better or 4 o'clock be better for you? All I think of is sales guy when somebody does that to me. They're trying to close me. It irritates me. Maybe that worked back in the day. I think it's a great technique, but I need to be given so much damn value that they are beating down my door is how I look at it. And if they ain't beating down my door, then I've got enough to do right now that I don't need to go chase them. That's what the river is for. That's what that lever's for. Okay. Now, that's for me. For you guys, if they ain't getting back, if that's not happened, they're stuck in the conveyor belt. They fell off somehow. They got in one of the little wheels, and they're just getting ran over by this conveyor belt, okay? You got to get them out, unstick them, and put them back on the conveyor belt. Here's how you do that. It's been a couple days, couple hours. They ain't doing what they said they were going to do. You reach back out. You do that. Kathy would say, Taylor, how you doing? Hey, just wanted to check. Did you get all that white furniture for your apartment? Or did you just get busy? Give them an out. Be a human. It's not about you being right. It's about building a relationship with somebody. Okay? See what they say. I got busy. Has that ever happened to anybody? Did you not do what you said you were going to do? It happens, all right? These people haven't gone through the personal development yet to be authentic with that just yet. Let them give them a little love. If you want to. If you're done with that nonsense, light a match to them. You got to go through more people that way, but the ones that you get are going to be freaking primo. Okay. But maybe they just need a little nudge. Maybe they didn't have a good mentor. Maybe they didn't have all the personal development that you've gone through. I struggle with that. I am ready to light a match to them. Hold me up 2 or 3 times, you're dead to me. That's me. I'm working on that. You decide for you on how many times and how much of that you're going to put up with. And here's the other thing. You don't have to sit there and put up with it. Just call it out and say, look, you said you wanted to do this. I'm in for helping people that want to help themselves. You said you want to do it. Were you even aware that you said that and now you're not even following up? Maybe you can help somebody. And you don't need to get into a lecture series with them, but be there that you're trying to help them. Again, make sure you're trying to help them and not trying to be right. They'll sense the difference. So if they get stuck, if they haven't answered, I'm not asking them for a specific time. Sometimes every once in a while I'll ask them, when do you think you can get to that? I might do that. And they'll tell me, and then I'll go through the whole Eric Worre thing. I just kind of go by feel these days. If I'm feeling it in the conversation, I'll do that. But the big thing is, if they're not participating, they're not doing their thing, it's incumbent upon you as the business partner with your prospect to re-grease the wheels. You've got the trust. You need to have the trust person touch that relationship again, reframe it to their why, and say, hey, you're going to be able to get to Mr. Now, don't make a big deal. You know, his time's super valuable and you're wasting it. And there's a time for that after 3-4 times that they ain't doing what they need to be doing. I'm cool being used for that. You want to do it earlier, I'm good with that too, but don't do it on the very first one. I'm not that important. All right. So just let them know, it's like, look, you want to do this thing, let's do it. If you don't, let's not waste anybody's time. Just let us know. Okay. Good stuff, Kathy. I like it.
Thanks.
Yep. Very good. Nope, that's all I had on that. All right, where are we at? Oh, we're over. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and call it a night. Upcoming things, make sure if you are going to Vegas, you have gotten with me, let me know. Make sure you've got your flight. Make sure you've got your hotel. That's the biggest thing that's happening right now is the hotels are that they have at the MGM are coming to a close, I think, in a week. So make sure you've got that all squared away. It's going to be an amazing event. On Tuesday, I got some updated information. It's going to be on Tuesday. The event's going to be starting, I think, at 5 p.m. local time there. My understanding was it was going to start earlier than that, and they told us to come in on Monday evening so that you'd be there for the whole thing. So here's 2 ways of looking at it. One is that, yep, you're coming in a day early, and you didn't need to be able to do that. You could have flown in on Tuesday. The other side of that is you're not going to have to worry about weather delays. You're not going to have to worry about any of that stuff. You're going to be there, and darn it, you're going to be in Vegas, and you get to have a little bit of fun. Don't have too much fun because we do have a session that evening, but you get to sleep in until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you can make it to the session at 5. So there you go. So I just wanted to be able to give that. Ava is looking for a roommate. If you would like to share a room and split the cost on that with her, she is looking for that. And these are going to happen where people are going to want to be able to bunk up. So absolutely use Power Hour for those exchanges and reach out to people to be able to get them together and be able to do that. Okay. If you've got somebody on your team or if you know somebody outside of the organization, we've told a lot of people about this. So if there's people, we're going to start opening it up to people outside of the organization. We're about 6 weeks out. And so we're going to make sure all these tickets are going to go, promise you. So if you want to get those, grab one of those. If you got a friend that you want to go to this, let them know. Know somebody in another organization, start letting them know, and they can get with me, and then I'll be able to point them in the right direction. I think I've got I might have 4 tickets left. And then after that, Jake's got a couple of them as well. So we still have tickets, but not too many. They're really going quick. It's going to be great having 50 plus people out there for this event. It's going to be a good time. All right, everybody, we're going to call it a night. We will see y'all on Thursday. Thank y'all for coming. I'm going to unmute the line so everybody can say good night.
Good night.
Happy birthday.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Right. Thank you, Casey.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.